Riley Samuel Hicks was born on August 16, 1857, in Douglas County, Missouri. He was the first of 7 children born to John and Mary Riley Hicks. When Riley was born, his father was 23 and his mother was 19. In 1870, when Riley was 15, his family had moved to Texas County, Missouri, and they started a farm there. Martha Ann Riley was born in June of 1867 in Douglas County, Missouri. She was the last of 9 children, born to Washington and Louisa Collins Riley. When Martha was born, her father was 45 and her mother was 43. Martha grew up in Douglas County on her parents' farm. At the age of 12, Martha did lose her father. After he passed away, her mother didn't remarry and their family remained in Douglas County. Around 1880, when Riley was 24, he married 26-year-old Sarah Ann or Sally Riley. You may have noticed, like I did, Sally's maiden name is the same as Riley's mother's maiden name. So, were they related? If the Ancestry site links are correct, yes. Sally's dad, Alexander Riley, and Riley's mom, Mary Riley Hicks, were brother and sister, which would have meant Riley and Sally were first cousins. This did make me curious. When did it become illegal to marry your first cousin in Missouri? The answer is 1983, 103 years after Sally and Riley married each other. Sally and Riley would have 2 daughters together, Elizabeth or Lizzie and Pearl. Their daughter Pearl was born in 1889. Sally passed away not long after this. There is no record of where Sally is buried. 1 year after losing Sally, Riley was in the paper with Martha, and they were in trouble. The article dated January 9th, 1890 stated, Riley Hicks and Martha Riley were arrested and brought before Squire Lloyd of Jackson Township, Monday the 6th, charged with open and notorious cohabitation. They were proven guilty to the satisfaction of Squire Lloyd, and each were sentenced to 9 months in jail. Open and notorious cohabitation meant that Martha and Riley were living together publicly in an intimate relationship without being married. When Martha and Riley were arrested for living together, Martha was also around 5 months pregnant with their first child, which probably didn't help their case in court. This made me wonder, did Martha give birth to her child in jail? I think the answer is no. I found more newspaper articles, and it seems instead of jail time, they appealed the case. A year later, they were found guilty, and the court fined them a whole $1. Back in 1891, a dollar equaled to around $35 in today's money. So, back in this time, marrying your first cousin, no problem. Living with your significant other, but you're not ready to commit to marriage yet, straight to jail. You probably noticed, like I did, that once again, Martha's maiden name is the same as Riley's mother's maiden name. So, once again, were Riley and Martha related? If the Ancestry site links are correct, yes. Martha's dad, Washington Riley, and Riley's mom, Mary Riley Hicks, were brother and sister, which would have meant, once again, Riley and Martha were first cousins. 3 years after their jail time, Martha and Riley finally made it official. On May 14th, 1893, when Riley was 37, he married 25-year-old Martha. Martha and Riley would have 8 children together, 1 boy and 7 girls. Before Riley and Martha were married, they already had 2 children together, a daughter Mary and a son named Sophus. After their marriage, Martha would have 6 more daughters, Laura, Maggie, Florence, Rosie, Lottie, and Ethel. So, including his children from his first wife, Riley had a total of 10 children, 9 girls, and 1 boy. Martha would have her children from the age of 22 to the age of 41, and all 10 of Riley's children with both Sally and Martha would live to adulthood. Martha and Riley lived out their lives in Douglas County, raising their kids and farming for a living. Riley passed away first on March 25th, 1917, at the age of, again, this is a mystery. This is another person I found who has several different birth and death years listed. His death certificate says he was born in 1855 and died in 1917 at the age of 62. Find a Grave says he was born in 1857 and died in 1917, making him 60. His headstone says he was born in 1872 and died in 1915, making him only 43. So Riley was 62, 60, or 43 when he passed. His death certificate said his cause of death was pneumonia with fever. Martha had Riley buried in Henderson Cemetery in Douglas County, Missouri. After Riley passed away, I found Martha on 2 more censuses. On the 1931, she was around 63, still in Douglas County, in the household of Lando Riley. Her relationship to the head of household was listed as servant. Martha would have been Lando's first cousin. Her father and Lando's father were brothers. I'm not sure if she was living with them and working for them, or if she was just working her day job when the census workers showed up. 10 years later, in 1940, she was still in Douglas County in her own house, and her 2 teenage granddaughters, Alpha and Laura Hicks, were living with her. Martha passed away on February 12, 1946, and once again, I'm not sure of her age. Her death certificate says she was born in 1876 and died in 1946, making her 69 years old. Find a Grave says she was born in 1867 and died in 1946, making her 78. Her headstone says she was born in 1881 and died in 1946, making her 65. So again, she was 69, 78, or 65. I'm not sure. Her cause of death was myocardial degeneration, which simply means her heart started to not function correctly. She also had epilepsy, meaning she was having repeated seizures and they weren't sure what caused them. Martha is buried together with Riley in Henderson Cemetery. Several of their children are also buried here. My family tree showed that I'm not related to Riley or Martha. My husband isn't related to Riley, but he is related to Martha. Martha is his second cousin, 5 times removed. Thank you for watching. Rest in peace, Riley and Martha.